Okay, so you just got your Model 3, Y, S, or X, and you are planning your first road trip without using any gas, and you're relying solely on the supercharging network. I'm Frugal Tesla Guy, and I'm going to make sure you don't run into any surprises along the way. In September of 2018, about 2 weeks after I picked up my Tesla Model 3, I ventured out on a 4,000-mile road trip, relying solely on the supercharging network for the first time. Yeah, sure, it was a little nerve-wracking, but after taking that trip, I quickly discovered that this was going to be my primary road trip car without any hesitation. And I've taken a lot of road trips since then, and in that time, I've learned a few things. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 4 essentials and a few other non-essentials on top of that to help make your first road trip and many others to follow in your Tesla a better experience. So put on your seatbelt and let's go. Upon taking delivery of your car or picking it up, Tesla supplies you with an EVSE, or electric vehicle supply equipment, and it all comes in this beautiful carrying case. But simply put, it's a portable unit that charges your car. Now they also give you an adapter that converts a J1772 plug into a Tesla plug. Now that will allow you to use the Level 2 charging network outside of Tesla. Now if you're not using either one of these on a daily basis for charging, then I just highly recommend you zip this all up and keep it in your car at all times. But if you do use at least one of them for daily charging, just make sure that you bring them with you on your road trips. Your hotel might have a J1772 plug that you could use this adapter for a Level 2 charger, or your Airbnb might have an outdoor electrical outlet and you could use the EVSE. Now on that note, it is a good idea to pack a heavy-duty extension cord no smaller than 12 gauge. Now sometimes you may even have an opportunity to use a 220 outlet at an RV park. Now in that case, you will need a 50 amp adapter. It looks just like this, and you can purchase it from the Tesla store online. Now Tesla does not sell the proper 30 amp RV plug, but you can buy an adapter that looks just like this that will convert the 50 amp plug to 30 amps. However, all I was able to get out of this was about 7 to 8 miles of charge per hour. And really, quite honestly, this is something you're just going to use in a bind. But if you are interested in something like this, I'll be sure to post a link to it in the description below. But bottom line, when we look at all of this, the more charging options you have, the better. It's no secret that at least at this point, you do need to not only make more charging stops than fueling a gas car, but it also takes longer. But as we all know, when it comes to long distance travel, and especially with others like your spouse and children, you will need to make more stops other than just fueling up. Bathroom breaks, stopping for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and of course we can't forget about snacks and drinks. But most of everything that I just mentioned can be taken care of at most superchargers. And with the proper planning, you can eliminate most, if not all, of those stops that don't involve charging. Now, rather than Google Maps, I highly recommend you try a better route planner. Now, not only will it plan the route for you with charging stops, but it will also tell you the amenities near each supercharger. So for example, if I have a charging stop near lunch or dinner time, I see what that particular supercharger has to offer. Now, if it doesn't suit my needs, I look to other superchargers that will. Now, is it always going to work out perfectly? Of course not. But if you allow for some wiggle room, you should be able to make the supercharging stops work to your advantage to help save time. And if your trip involves staying in a hotel, try to find one with level 2 chargers. That way, when you wake up, you'll have a full charge to start the day. Although many like to argue that Teslas should have spare tires, it seems to have become more and more of a common trend for a lot of cars in the last decade. So what can you do to help make sure you don't get stranded on the side of the road. Well, actually, one of the first options is here in the back of my trunk. So this right here is going to be your first option, and this is the one that's going to give you the most peace of mind, right? It is an actual spare tire for your Tesla. Now, this is the one I prefer. There are several options out there. It's from a company called Modern Spare. And this is a kit that comes with a low profile jack, a lug wrench, lug nuts, and of course a high quality spare tire that has a speed rating of up to 81 miles per hour. Now this allows you to travel longer distances than the standard 50 miles of most spare tires. I'll of course post a link to my review of this tire in the description below if you're interested. But what if you don't have the room to spare? Is this thing on? Oh, it is? Yeah. Now, if you don't feel like spending the money on a spare tire or simply don't have space, then the most common options are tire repair kits like this one and air compressors with what a lot of people call goo. However, if you have foam in your tire, then the goo probably won't work properly, and some like to argue that it can damage your tire pressure sensor. Now, even though I do have a spare tire, I still like to keep an air compressor in my car just in case one of my tires gets low. Now, it did happen to me on my trip to Texas a few years ago, and it was just nice to be able to fill up the tire and be on my way. Now, there is, of course, the Tesla roadside service, which can have its advantages and disadvantages, and is a topic for its own video. Now, that said, you can contact Tesla roadside assistance from the app or from the center console screen. Well, during a road trip, it doesn't take long for your windshield to get covered with bird poop and bug guts, especially in the summer. Now, that was easily taken care of when you were driving a gas car because most gas stations offer up soapy water and a squeegee to wash off all that gook from your windshield. Now, since there isn't any hired staff at most of the superchargers, there isn't anything available for you to wash off your windshield. So it's a good idea to bring your own. Now, this can be something as simple as a water and soap solution that I have in here, and you can buy squeegees like this at any automotive store. Now, once I'm done cleaning the windshield, this is still going to be wet. So what I typically do is I use a plastic bag, put it in that plastic bag just to make sure I don't get anything else in the car wet. Now, if you don't want to do that solution, there's also another way to clean your windshield. Of course, you know that. That's going to be some glass cleaner. And you can, of course, bring all these rags here to help you with that as well. Now, if you're feeling ambitious, you can also bring a waterless car wash. Now, this is great because this is a big bug magnet on the Tesla Model 3 and, of course, the Y as well. And this is going to help clean that off and a great way to kind of maintain that. Also, the side view mirrors can be an issue with those bugs as well. And if you're feeling even more ambitious, you can bring an interior cleaner just to kind of help keep the interior of the car clean if you have the time. So, you know, this is one of those things, if you're bringing all these supplies, you might as well bring them all. And I put them all in this bucket here with all the rags and everything else, and I either store them here in the front, as you see right here, or somewhere in the trunk. Open glove box. Now, one of the essentials obviously is going to be a first aid kit. Now, of course, this isn't just for Teslas and EVs in general. This is going to be for any road trip. It's always a good idea to pack one of these just for those unexpected accidents. But this is something that is going to be personal preference too. This is a pretty small and compact one, which is the way I like it. As a backpacker, I like these small and compact first aid kits, and it fits perfectly in the glove box. So just another essential that I think is good for any road trip. Now, if we could work on this, close glove box. Not going to work. I guess we got to do it the old-fashioned way. Now, there are a few non-essential items that I like to bring as well. And for example, this chair that I'm sitting in is nice to bring because weather permitting, especially if it's a nice day, it's nice to sit outside, enjoy a snack, maybe some lunch while you're waiting for the battery to charge. Now, these can take up some space, so if you are tight on space, these are nice too. This is what I use for backpacking, and these are also very comfortable and take up a lot less space than these bigger chairs that I'm sitting in. If you're someone who can get through the night off of very little sleep and have the stamina for that, then I recommend getting even a cheap blow-up mattress to kind of help you get those quick 30 to 60 minute naps while you're supercharging. Now, I have one that I purchased a few years ago, and unfortunately I can't find it anywhere, but it fits back here perfectly. I fit on it perfectly as well, and for those quick 30 to 60 minute naps, it is a great way to go. Now, there are other options as far as mattresses are concerned, depending on your needs. You can go as little as 15 to 20 bucks to as high as several $100s, again, depending on your needs. But for those quick power naps, a cheap blow-up mattress is a great way to go and to really help you take advantage of driving through the overnight hours. So that's the essential and not so essential list that I've created to help make traveling in your Tesla a better experience. What are some of the things that you like to bring? I'd love to see some of your suggestions in the comments section below. Also, if you're interested in any of the products that I mentioned, I'll be sure to put a link in the description below to those products and any reviews as well. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and stay positively charged. And now, on to my next road trip.